The great hall of the Galactic Empire fell silent as the judges delivered their final decision. Nara stood in the center of the circular chamber, her scaled hands resting on her growing belly. The chains around her wrists felt cold against her skin. She was young, barely 25 years old by her people's count, but today she would be cast out forever. Nara of the Dragon House, the chief judge spoke with a voice like grinding stone. You have brought shame upon your bloodline. You carry a child that is not pure. This breaks the sacred laws of our empire. Nara lifted her head to meet the judge's cold stare. Her golden eyes showed no fear, only sadness. She had known this day would come. From the moment she discovered she was pregnant, she knew the empire would not accept her child. Your parents died fighting for the empire, another judge said. They were heroes. But you have dishonored their memory. You chose love over duty. You chose an alien over your own kind. The words cut deep, but Nara stayed strong. She thought of Kale, her beloved, who had died protecting her during their escape attempt. He was not of her species, but he had loved her with all his heart. Their child would be a bridge between two worlds, something beautiful and new. You will be sent to a primitive world, the chief judge continued. A place called Earth. You will live there until your death. You will never return to the Empire. Your child will never know our ways. Nara felt the baby move inside her as, if responding to the harsh words, she placed her hand over her belly and whispered a promise only she could hear. I will protect you, little one. We will find a way to survive. The guards came forward to take her away. As they led her through the corridors of the massive space station, Nara looked back one last time at the home she would never see again. The walls were made of crystal and metal, gleaming under artificial suns. Thousands of her people went about, their daily lives never knowing that one of their own was being thrown away like garbage. Hours later, Nara sat alone in a small escape pod. The guards had given her basic supplies, food that would last a few weeks, water, and simple clothes. They had also given her a translation device and a holographic disguise unit. The device would help her look human so she could blend in with the natives of Earth. Remember the guard captain had said before sealing her inside the pod? If you ever try to contact the Empire or reveal our existence to the humans, we will destroy their entire world. Your exile protects them as much as it punishes you. The pod launched from the station with a violent shake. Nara watched through the small window as the stars grew brighter and the Empire's fleet grew smaller. She was truly alone now, carrying the future of two species in her womb. The journey to Earth took many days. Nara spent the time learning about her new home from the pod's computer. Earth was a blue and green world, mostly covered in water. Humans were young as a species, having only recently discovered fire and basic tools they had not yet learned. To travel between stars, the computer showed her images of Earth's surface, vast oceans, tall mountains, and endless forests. There were cities where millions of humans lived together, and quiet places where only a few families made their homes. Ada hoped she would land somewhere peaceful, away from the crowds and questions. As the pod entered Earth's atmosphere, alarms began to sound. The heat shield was failing and the navigation system was damaged. Nara strapped herself in tightly as the pod began to spin out of control. Through the window, she could see storm clouds gathering below. Rain and lightning filled the sky. Not like this, she whispered, holding her belly. Please, not like this. The pod crashed into the ground with tremendous force. Nara felt pain shoot through her body as she was thrown against the walls. When everything finally stopped moving, she could hear rain pounding on the metal hull. The pod's lights flickered and went out. It took all her strength to open the emergency hatch. Rain immediately soaked her clothes as she crawled out of the wreckage. The holographic disguise device was broken, showing her true form, scales that shimmered like precious stones, long silver hair, and eyes that glowed in the darkness. She looked around and saw she had landed in a field of tall grass. In the distance, she could see the dark shape of a building. Lightning flashed across the sky, and thunder rumbled overhead. Every step was agony, but she forced herself to walk toward the shelter. The building was old and made of wood and stone. It had large doors that stood slightly open, and she could smell hay and animals inside. It was some kind of barn, she realized, a place where humans kept their livestock. Nara stumbled inside just as another flash of lightning lit up the sky. The barn was warm and dry, filled with the scent of straw and grain. She could hear animals moving in the darkness, cows, she thought, and maybe pigs. They seemed calm, unafraid of her presence. In the corner of the barn, she found a pile of clean hay. It was soft and warm, the first comfort she had felt in days. She collapsed onto it, exhausted from the crash and the walk. Her body ached, and she could feel the baby moving restlessly inside her. "We made it," she whispered to her unborn child. "We are safe for now." Outside, the storm continued to rage. Rain drummed on the barn roof, and wind howled through the cracks. In the walls, but inside, Nara felt a small spark of hope. This barn was not the crystal halls of her birth world, but it was shelter. It was a place where she and her child could rest. She closed her eyes and tried to plan what to do next. The holographic disguise was broken, so she would have to be careful not to be seen. She needed to find food and water, and she needed to prepare for the birth of her child. Most importantly, she needed to find a way to survive on this alien world. As sleep finally took her, Nara dreamed of Kale and the life they might have had together. In her dreams, they were free to love without fear, and their child grew up in a world where being different was not a crime. When she woke, she would face the harsh reality of her exile. But for now, in the warmth of the barn, she could dream of better days. The storm passed during the night, and morning came with gentle sunlight streaming through the barn windows. Nara's real test was about to begin. Daeho Kim woke before dawn, just as he had every morning for the past 15 years. The small farmhouse felt empty without his wife Minji, who had passed away 3 years ago during a difficult childbirth. He missed her gentle voice waking him. Each morning, missed the sound of her humming while she prepared breakfast. He dressed quietly and walked outside to begin his daily chores. The storm from the night before had left everything wet and muddy, but the air smelled clean and fresh. As he approached the barn to feed his animals, he noticed something strange. The cows were all pressed against the far wall, looking nervous. His old dog, Bori, was whimpering and refused to go near the barn doors. "What is wrong with you today?" Daeho asked the dog, scratching behind his ears. Bori just whined and stayed. Close to his legs, inside the barn, Daeho could hear soft breathing that did not sound like any of his animals. He picked up a pitchfork and slowly pushed open the door. The morning light streamed in, and he saw his cows and pigs all crowded into one corner. They seemed afraid of something in the opposite corner. Daeho walked carefully across the hay-covered floor, his boots making soft sounds on the wooden planks. In the corner where he stored extra hay, he saw a shape that made his heart stop. Looked like a person, but the skin seemed to shimmer and change color in the light. Long silver hair spread across the hay like moonlight. He took another step closer and gasped. The person had scales along their arms and face, scales that caught the morning light like precious gems. Their breathing was shallow and quick, and he could see they were hurt. One leg was twisted at a strange angle, and there were cuts on their hands and face. "Hello," Daeho called softly. "Are you awake?" The figures stirred and opened their eyes. Daeho stumbled backward in shock. The eyes were golden like the sun, and they seemed to glow with their own light. This was no human person. This was something else entirely. The creature tried to sit up but winced in pain. Daeho could see now that it was a young woman, though clearly not human. She looked frightened and hurt, like a wounded animal that expected to be attacked. "Please," she whispered in broken Korean. "No hurt, please." Daeho lowered his pitchfork. Despite her strange appearance, he could see she was scared and in pain. Her voice reminded him of Minji, when she had been afraid during her pregnancy. There was something about her that made his protective instincts stronger than his fear. "I will not hurt you," he said slowly, speaking clearly so she could understand. "You are hurt. You need help." Hey, the woman stared at him with those golden eyes. As if trying to decide whether to trust him, her hand moved to her belly, and Daeho saw that she was pregnant. The sight made his heart ache with old memories. "Baby," she said, pointing to her stomach. Baby, come soon. Deho felt his breath catch. A pregnant woman, alone and injured, hiding in his barn. It did not matter that she was not human. She needed help, and he was the only one who could give it. My name is Deho, he said, pointing to himself. What is your name? Nara, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Nara, he repeated, testing the strange name. Are you hungry? Do you need water? She nodded quickly, and he could see tears forming in her golden eyes. When was the last time someone had shown her kindness? He thought of Minji, who had always said that helping others was the most important thing a person could do. Wait here, he told her. I will bring food and water. Deho hurried back to his house, his mind racing. What was she? Come from? How had she ended up in his barn? And most importantly, what was he going to do about it? He'd filled a large bowl with water and gathered some bread, rice, and dried fish. He also grabbed the first aid kit that Mingi had always kept. In the kitchen, as he walked back to the barn, he made a decision that would change his life forever. He would help this strange woman no matter what she was. Nara was still in the same spot when he returned, but she was sitting up now, watching the barn door nervously. When she saw him, she relaxed slightly, Fudeho said, setting the bowl, and plates down nearby. Water. Nara drank the water like she had not tasted any in days. She ate the bread and rice quickly, but carefully, as if she was not sure it was really for her. Deho watched her eat and felt his heart break a little. She looked so young and alone. Where did you come from? He asked gently. Nara looked up at him, then pointed toward the sky. Far, she said, very far. Sky. Deho followed her gaze upward. From the sky? Like the stories he had heard about flying machines and people from other worlds? He had always thought those were just stories, but looking at Nara, he was not so sure anymore. Are there others like you? He asked. Nara's face became sad, and she shook her head. No, only me. Only baby. She placed both hands on her belly. Others no want. Others say bad. Deho began to understand. She was alone because her own people had rejected her. Maybe because of the baby, maybe because of who the father was. He had heard stories of families casting out pregnant daughters who brought shame to their names. Even among humans, such cruelty existed. You are safe here, he said firmly. Will not let anyone hurt you or your baby. Nara stared at him in amazement. Why? She asked. Why help? I not human. I different. Deho thought about his answer. He looked at this strange woman with her golden eyes and shimmering scales, heavily pregnant and hurt, and he saw something familiar. He saw someone who needed compassion. My wife, he said slowly. She died having baby. I could not help her. Maybe I can help you? Nara's eyes filled with tears. She reached out with one scaled hand and gently touched his arm. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you, Deho.
Sight.
For the next few hours, Deho tended to her injuries as best he could. Her leg was sprained, but not broken, and the cuts were shallow. She was stronger than she looked, and she healed faster than any human would have. As the day went on, Nara began to trust him more. She taught him words in her language, and he helped her with Korean. She told him about the long journey from her home, about the people who had sent her away, about her fear for her unborn child. They say baby wrong, she explained. Baby different. A baby is love. Baby is hope. Deho nodded, understanding more than she knew. All babies are hope, he said. Your baby will be safe here. As the sun began to set, Deho realized his life had changed completely in just one day. He had a secret now, a responsibility that was bigger than anything he had ever faced. But looking at Nara, who was finally sleeping peacefully in the hay, he knew he had made the right choice. Outside the barn, Bori the dog had finally stopped whimpering. The cows had returned to their normal spots. Even the animals seemed to sense that Nara belonged here now. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight, Deho felt something he had not felt in years. He felt like he had a purpose again. 3 weeks had passed since Nara arrived in Deho's barn. The farmer had fallen into a new routine, bringing her meals 3 times a day and checking on her health. Nara's injuries had healed remarkably fast, but her pregnancy was becoming more difficult with each passing day. Deho noticed she was different from human women. Her skin would sometimes change color when she was in pain, shifting from pale silver to deep blue. Her eyes glowed brighter when she was upset or afraid. Most strange of all, she seemed to understand his animals better than he did. Cow sick. Nara told him one morning, pointing to his oldest dairy cow, Bossy, inside hurt. Deho looked at Bossy, who seemed fine to him. But 2 days later, the cow stopped eating and became ill. The local veterinarian said she had an infection that could have been caught early if someone had noticed the signs. How did you know? Deho asked Nara. That evening, she touched her temple and then pointed to the cow. Feel, she said simply, like you feel happy, sad. I feel animal pain. This was just one of many abilities that made Nara special. She could sense when storms were coming, days before they arrived. She knew which plants would grow best in different parts of his field. She even helped him fix his old tractor by showing him exactly where the problem was. Your people, Deho said one evening as they sat together in the barn, were foolish to send you away. You could have helped them. Nara's face grew sad. They fear different. Fear change. Baby is both my people and father's people. They say dangerous. What was your husband like? Deho asked gently. Nara's eyes lit up with memory. Kale, he was kind like you. His people also cast him out for loving me. We try to run away together, but Empire soldiers find us. Kale fight to protect me. He dies so I could escape. Deho felt anger rise in his chest. What kind of people would kill someone for love? I am sorry, he said. Baby will be strong, Nara said, placing her hands on her growing belly. We'll have best of both worlds. I worry. I do not know how to birth baby alone. This had been troubling Deho as well. Nara was clearly not human, and he had no idea how to help her when the time came. He had been thinking about his sister Yunji, who was a doctor in the nearby town. But how could he explain Nara without revealing her secret? The decision was made for him the next afternoon. Deho was in the house when he heard Nara cry out in pain from the barn. He ran outside and found her doubled over, her skin flickering between colors. Baby, she gasped. Something wrong? Deho helped her lie down on the hay, but he could see she was in real trouble. Her breathing was too fast, and her skin was turning a dark blue color he had never seen before. I need to get help, he said. No, Nara grabbed his arm. No other people. They will take me away. My sister is a doctor, Deho said. She will help us. I trust her. Nara looked into his eyes, and he could see her fear. But she was also in too much pain to argue. You trust? She whispered. I trust, he said firmly. Deho drove his truck to town faster than he had ever driven before. He found Yunji at the clinic, just finishing with her last patient of the day. Yunji, I need your help, he said urgently. Wow, someone is in trouble. Dr. Yunji Kim looked at her brother with concern. He was sweating and looked terrified. What happened? You hurt? Not me, someone else. She is pregnant and in pain. I think something is very wrong. Youngji grabbed her medical bag. Why did you not bring her to the clinic? She cannot come here, Deho said. Please, just trust me. I will explain everything. Drive back to the farm was tense. Youngji kept asking questions, but Deho just said she would understand when she saw. He was terrified that he was making a mistake, that Yunji would react badly, that she would call the authorities. When they reached the barn, Deho stopped his sister at the door. Yunji, what you are about to see will be very strange. But remember, she is just a pregnant woman who needs help. She is kind and gentle, and she is scared. Yunji looked at him like he was crazy. Deho, what are you talking about? He opened the barn door and let her inside. Nara was lying on the hay, her skin now a deep purple color. When she saw the stranger, she tried to hide her face, but it was too late. Youngji stopped walking and stared. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then, slowly, Youngji approached the hay pile. Hello, she said softly. I am a doctor.
I want to help you.
Nara looked at Deho, then back at Yunji. "You're not afraid?" she asked. "I am a little afraid," Yunji admitted, "but I am more concerned about you and your baby. May I examine you?" For the next hour, Yunji worked carefully, using her medical knowledge to understand Nara's condition. She discovered that Nara's body was rejecting the pregnancy because the baby was different from her own species. "This is very dangerous," Yunji told them. "Her body is treating the baby like a foreign object. If we cannot stop this, she could lose the baby, or worse. What can we do?" Daeho asked. Yunji looked troubled. "I do not know. This is beyond human medicine. We need to understand more about her biology." Nara had been listening to their conversation. "They have knowledge," she said weakly. "But need materials. Special materials." "What kind of materials?" Yunji asked. Nara tried to sit up, but the pain was too strong. "Metal from sky, certain plants, and energy source." "Energy source?" Daeho asked. "Like electricity, but different. My people use it for healing. I can make device, but need time." Yunji made a decision. "I will help you get what you need. But first, we need to stabilize you." She gave Nara some medicine that helped with the pain and made her sleep that night. Daeho and Yunji sat outside the barn, talking in quiet voices. "She is really from another world," Yunji said. It was not a question. "Yes," Daeho replied. "Her. People threw her away because she fell in love with someone different, and you have been taking care of her for 3 weeks." "Yes," Yunji shook her head in amazement. "You always were too kind for your own good. But Daeho, this is dangerous. If the government finds out—" "They will not find out," Daeho said firmly. "She is part of our family now, our family." Yunji looked at him strangely. "She has no one else," Daeho said. "Her husband is dead. Her people rejected her, and she is carrying a child that might be the only one of its kind. If we do not help her, who will?" Yunji was quiet for a long time. Finally, she spoke. "What does she need to build this device?" "I do not know yet, but I will find out." "It's crazy," Yunji said. "We are talking about hiding an alien in your barn and helping her build alien technology." Yes, Daeho agreed. "It is crazy, but it is also right." The next morning, Nara felt better. The medicine had helped, and she was able to sit up and eat. She began to draw pictures in the dirt, showing Daeho and Yunji what she needed for her healing device. "This metal," she said, pointing to one drawing, "falls from sky sometimes. You call meteor?" "Meteors," Yunji said. "We might be able to find some at the university." "And this plant," Nara pointed to another drawing, "grows in mountains, has blue flowers." "I know that plant," Daeho said. "It grows wild in the hills. People say it is good for healing." "And energy?" Yunji asked. Nara looked troubled. "This hardest part needs special stone that holds power. Without it, device not work." "Where can we find the stone?" Daeho asked. "Not sure," Nara admitted. "Maybe in caves. Maybe in old places where Earth's power is strong." It seemed impossible, but looking at Nara's hopeful face, both Daeho and Yunji knew they had to try. They spent the rest of the day making plans, figuring out how to get the materials without raising suspicion. As the sun set, Nara looked at both of them with tears in her golden eyes. "Why you help me?" she asked. "You not know me? You not owe me anything?" Daeho thought about his answer. "'Cause you are here, and you need help. That is enough." Yunji nodded. "And because your baby deserves a chance to live?" That night, Nara slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. Daeho and Yunji began their search for the materials that could save her life. They did not know if they would succeed, but they knew they had to try. The trust between them had grown strong, and they were now a family bonded by compassion and hope. 2 weeks had passed since Yunji joined their secret. The 3 of them had worked together to gather most of the materials Nara needed for her healing device. Daeho had found the blue mountain flowers during a long hike. Yunji had convinced her university friends to give her small pieces of meteor metal for her research. But the energy stone remained impossible to find. Nara was getting weaker every day. Her skin stayed purple most of the time now, and she could barely walk without help. The baby was growing, but her body was fighting harder against the pregnancy. "We are running out of time," Yunji told Daeho one evening as they watched Nara sleep. "She needs that device soon, or we will lose them both." Ho felt helpless. He had searched every cave and old temple in the mountains, but found nothing that matched Nara's description of the energy stone. "Maybe we should take her to a big hospital in Seoul," he suggested. "Human medicine cannot help her," Yunji said sadly. "Her biology is too different. We need to find that stone." Unknown to them, their time was running out for another reason. Far above Earth, Imperial ships had detected the crash site of Nara's escape pod. Commander Yoon stood on the bridge of his warship, studying the green and blue planet below. "The Exile's pod crashed in the eastern continent," his lieutenant reported. "In a region the humans call Korea." "How long ago?" Yoon asked. "Nearly 6 weeks, sir." The pod's signal stopped transmitting after the crash. Yoon smiled coldly. "Good. That means she probably died in the crash, but we must be certain. Take a team down and find the wreckage. If she survived, eliminate her. If she had the child, eliminate it too." "What about the humans, sir? Kill any who have seen her. Cannot risk word of our exile program reaching the resistance." The next morning, Daeho was working in his fields when he saw something that made his blood freeze. In the distance, strange aircraft were flying low over the countryside. They were not like any planes he had ever seen. They were silver and moved without sound. He ran to the barn where Nara was resting. "Nara, wake up! There are strange ships in the sky." Nara's golden eyes opened wide with fear. "Imperial ships?" she whispered. "They found me." "Who are they?" Daeho asked, though. He already suspected the answer. "The ones who sent me away. They'd come to kill me and the baby." Nara struggled to sit up. "They will kill you too, for helping me." Daeho felt anger burn in his chest. "Let them try." Yoonji arrived an hour later, her face pale with worry. "The whole town is talking about the strange aircraft. People are scared. Some say they are foreign. Military planes." "They are not from any human country," Nara said weakly. "They search for me. When they find me, they will destroy everything." "Then we need to hide you better," Daeho said. "The barn is not safe anymore." They spent the day preparing. Daeho built a hidden room under the barn floor, covering it with hay and old boards. Youngji brought more medicine and supplies, but they all knew it was not enough. That evening, as they sat together in the hidden room, Nara made a decision that broke Daeho's heart. "I must leave," she said. "I must go far away so they do not find you." "No," Daeho said firmly. "You can barely walk. And your baby needs to be born soon." "Better I die alone than bring death to good people," Nara replied. "You are not going anywhere," Youngji said. "We are family now. Family protects each other." Nara looked at both of them with tears in her golden eyes. "I do not understand humans. Why do you risk everything for someone different?" "Because it is right," Daeho said simply. "And because no child should be born without someone to love them." The next morning brought terrible news. Yoonji's friend from town called to say that soldiers had arrived asking questions about crashed aircraft and strange people. They were going from farm to farm, searching every building. "They will be here by afternoon," Youngji said. "We need to move Nara." But when they went to the hidden room, they found Nara in terrible pain. Her skin was now almost black, and she was having trouble breathing. "Baby comes," she gasped. "Baby comes now." Daeho felt panic rise in his throat. "Not now. Not like this." "We have no choice," Yoonji said, immediately switching to her doctor training. "We deliver the baby here, and we do it quietly." As if the universe was testing them, they heard the sound of vehicles approaching the farm. Through the barn window, Daeho could see soldiers in strange uniforms walking toward the house. "They are here," he whispered. Nara grabbed his hand with surprising strength. "Promise me," she said. "If something happens to me, you take care of baby. Promise." "Nothing will happen to you," Daeho said. But he could see the fear in her eyes. The soldiers knocked on the front door of the house. Daeho left Youngji with Nara and went to meet them, trying to act normal despite his racing heart. "Good morning," he said to the lead soldier. "Can I help you?" The soldier was tall and pale, with cold eyes that seemed to see everything. "We are looking for a crashed aircraft. It would have come down about 6 weeks ago." "I did not see anything," Deho lied. "It's just the big storm that night." "We need to search your property," the soldier said. It was not a request. "Of course," Deho said, though inside he was screaming. "There is not much to see, just the house and barn." As the soldiers began their search, Deho prayed that Nara would stay quiet. Nay. In the hidden room below the barn, Youngji was helping Nara through the most dangerous moment of her life. "I need to push," Nara whispered. "Not yet." Youngji whispered back, "Wait until they leave." Above them, Boots walked across the barn floor. The soldiers were thorough, checking every corner, every pile of hay. One of them stopped right above the hidden room. "This floor sounds hollow," he said. Deho's heart stopped. "It is old wood," he said quickly. "The whole barn is falling apart." The soldier knelt down and knocked on the boards. The sound echoed. In the hidden room below, Nara bit her lip to keep from crying out as another wave of pain hit her. "Sir," another soldier called from outside. "We found something." The soldier above the hidden room stood up and walked away. Deho followed them outside, where they had discovered pieces of metal from Naro's crashed pod. "This is not human technology," the lead soldier said. "Where did this come from?" "I found it in the field after the storm," Deho said. "I thought it was airplane parts." The soldier studied him with those cold eyes. "You are lying." "I am not lying," Deho said, meeting his gaze. "I am just a farmer. I do not know anything about aircraft." The soldier stepped closer. "If you are hiding something, we will find it. And when we do, you will die." "I have nothing to hide," Deho said. After what felt like hours, the soldiers finally left. But Deho knew they would be back. As soon as their vehicles disappeared down the road, he ran back to the barn in the hidden room. Youngji was holding a small bundle wrapped in blankets. Nara lay on the hay, exhausted but alive. "The baby?" Deho asked. "Healthy," Youngji said with a smile. "A little boy." Deho looked at the tiny face peeking out from the blankets. The baby had Nara's golden eyes, but his skin was smooth like a human's. He was beautiful. "Hello, little one," Deho whispered. "Welcome to the world." Nara reached out weakly to touch her son. "His name is Han," she said. "It means wise and bright." Han, Deho repeated. "A good name." But their moment of joy was interrupted by the sound of aircraft returning. Through the barn window, they could see more ships than before, surrounding the farm. "They know," Nara said. "They know I am here." This time, there would be no hiding. The hunt was over, and the final battle was about to begin. The Imperial ships landed in Deho's fields, crushing his crops under their weight. Commander Yoon stepped out of the lead ship, his cold eyes scanning the farm. Behind him came 20 soldiers in black armor, carrying weapons that hummed with deadly energy. In the hidden room beneath the barn, Nara held baby Hyun close to her chest. The newborn was quiet, as if he understood the danger. Youngji checked her medical supplies while Deho watched through a crack in the floorboards. "They have surrounded the farm," Deho whispered. "There is no way out." "There is one way," Nara said weakly. "I go out alone. Tell them you never saw me. Maybe they will believe you." "No," Deho said firmly. "We stay together. You do not understand," Nara said, her voice growing stronger despite her exhaustion. "My people are not like yours. They have no mercy. They will kill everyone here just to be sure." Above them, Commander Yoon's voice rang out across the farm. "Kim Deho, we know you are here. We know you have been hiding the exile. Come out now, and your death will be quick." Now, looked at Nara and baby Hayan, then at his sister Yoonji. "Have an idea," he said quietly, "but I need you to trust me." "What are you thinking?" Yoonji asked. "The whole village can see those ships," Deho said. "People will come to investigate, if we can delay long enough." "The humans cannot help you," Nara said sadly. "Their weapons are too weak." "Maybe," Deho said, "but you might be surprised what people will do to protect their home." He climbed out of the hidden room and walked toward the barn door. Stay here, he told the others. No matter what happens, stay hidden. Daeho stepped outside and faced the alien soldiers. Commander Yoon stood in the center of the circle, his pale face twisted with impatience. Where is she? Yoon demanded. Do not know who you are talking about, Daeho said. Yoon raised his hand and energy crackled between his fingers. Do not lie to me, human. We detected her pod crash near here. We found the wreckage. She is somewhere on this farm. I found some metal in my field after the storm, Daeho said. I thought it was airplane parts. I do not know anything about any woman. Search everything, Yoon ordered his soldiers. Tear this place apart if you have to. The soldiers spread out across the farm, their weapons scanning for any sign of life. Daeho watched helplessly as they destroyed his home, smashing furniture and burning buildings. In the hidden room, Nara could hear the destruction above. Her son began to cry, and she knew it was only a matter of time before they were discovered. Cannot let them die for me, she whispered to Yoonji. What are you doing? Yoonji asked, as Nara struggled to stand. What I should have done from the beginning, Nara said. She kissed baby Hyen's forehead and handed him to Yoonji. Shh. Take care of him. Teach him to be kind like his Uncle Daeho. Nara, no, Yoonji said, but it was too late. Nara climbed out of the hidden room and walked toward the barn door. Her legs were shaking, but she forced herself to stand straight. As she stepped outside, her broken disguise device finally gave out completely. Revealing her true form, the soldiers immediately pointed their weapons at her. Commander Yoon smiled coldly. There you are, he said, the exile who thought she could hide among primitives. I am here, Nara said, her voice carrying across the farm. Let the humans go. They did nothing wrong. They helped you, Yoon said. That is crime enough. They showed mercy to a pregnant woman, Nara said. My culture that was once considered honorable. Your culture is dead, Yoon replied. So are you. But before he could give the order to fire, they heard the sound of vehicles approaching. Pickup trucks and farm equipment came roaring down the road, filled with people from the village. Daeho's neighbor, old Mr. Park, jumped out of his truck carrying a hunting rifle. Daeho, what is happening here? Who are these people? More villagers arrived surrounding the alien soldiers. They were farmers and shopkeepers, ordinary people with simple weapons, but their faces showed determination. Foreign soldiers, Daeho called out. They are trying to take my land. This is not your concern. Humans, Commander Yoon said. Leave now, or you will all die. This is our concern, Mr. Park said, raising his rifle. This is our neighbor, our friend. You want to hurt him, you have to go through us. Yoon laughed. You think your primitive weapons can stop us? Maybe not, said Mrs. Lee, who ran the village store. But we will not let you hurt good people without a fight. More villagers kept arriving. Word had spread quickly through the small community, and soon there were 50 people facing the 20 alien soldiers. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they stood their ground. Nara watched in amazement. These humans barely knew her, yet they were willing to risk their lives to protect her and Daeho. She had never seen such courage from strangers. You see, Daeho said to Yoon, we may be primitive, but we know right from wrong. Enough, Yoon snarled. Kill them all. The soldiers raised their weapons, but before they could fire, Nara stepped forward. Her skin began to glow with a silver. Light and electricity crackled around her hands. You want me? She said, her voice carrying new power. Then face me yourself. The energy blast that shot from her hands knocked 3 soldiers to the ground. The villagers cheered and opened fire. With their hunting rifles and shotguns, the battle had begun. Nara fought with desperate strength, her dragon heritage finally awakening. She could fly short distances, her claws could cut through metal, her bioelectric attacks could disable the alien weapons. But she was still weak from giving birth, and there were too many enemies. Commander Yoon himself advanced on her, his own weapon, charging with deadly energy. Your power cannot save you, he said. Nothing can. As he prepared to fire, Daeho threw himself between them. The energy blast hit him in the chest, and he fell to the ground. Daeho, Dara screamed. The farmer was badly hurt, but still alive. Protect the baby, he whispered. Protect our family. Nara's rage exploded outward. Her skin turned pure white with energy, and lightning danced around her body. She rose into the air, her wings spread wide and unleashed her full power. The blast sent shockwaves across the farm. Half the alien soldiers were knocked unconscious, and their weapons were destroyed. But the effort left Nara exhausted. She collapsed beside Deho. Commander Yoon stood over them, his weapon aimed at Nara's heart. Time to end this, he said. But suddenly, new ships appeared in the sky. These were different from the Imperial. Vessels sleeker, faster, and bearing different markings. Galactic resistance, Yoon said with hatred. How did they find us? The resistance ships opened fire on the Imperial forces. The battle moved to the sky as both sides fought with advanced weapons. In the chaos, some of the resistance soldiers landed near the barn. Are you Nara? One of them asked. We received your distress signal. I sent no signal, Nara said weakly. Your son did, the soldier said with a smile. Hybrid children have special abilities. His cry for help reached us across the galaxy. In the hidden room, Yanji was holding baby Hyun, who was glowing with soft golden light. Somehow, the newborn had called for help in a way that only other telepathic species could hear. The resistance soldiers helped get Nara and Deho to safety while the battle raged overhead. Commander Yoon's forces were defeated, and he was taken. Prisoner, you are safe now, the resistance leader told Nara. We offer you sanctuary among our people. Thank you, Nara said, but I want to stay here. This is my home now. She looked at Deho, who was being treated by Yoonji. The farmer was hurt but would recover. He managed to smile at her. Family stays together, he said weakly. Yes, Nara agreed. Family stays together. As the sun set over the damaged farm, Nara held her son while Deho recovered from his injuries. The battle was over, but their real journey was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the battle at Deho's farm. The Korean government had been told that foreign terrorists had attacked the village. The strange ships were explained as new military technology. Most people accepted this story, but the villagers who had fought alongside Nara knew the truth. The farm had been rebuilt, better than before. The galactic resistance had secretly provided advanced materials and technology, disguised as regular building supplies. To outside observers, it looked like a normal farm, but hidden beneath were communication systems that connected Earth. To the resistance network, Nara had recovered her strength and was now helping coordinate refugee operations. The resistance had discovered that Earth's remote location made it perfect for hiding people fleeing the Empire's oppression. Other families had already arrived, all settling in the rural areas around Deho's farm. How many more are coming? Deho asked. As he watched Nara feed baby Hain, the infant was growing quickly and already showing signs of his mixed heritage. His eyes could see in perfect darkness, and he seemed to understand multiple languages. 15 families this month, Nara replied. The resistance found a whole planet of people who were marked for elimination. They need somewhere safe to hide. We'll make room, Deho said without hesitation. There is plenty of land. Yoonji had become the unofficial doctor for the growing refugee community. She had learned to treat species she had never imagined existed, and her medical knowledge had expanded beyond anything taught in human schools. The Killian family needs help with their eldest daughter, she told Nara. She is having trouble adapting to Earth's gravity. I will talk to them, Nara said. My people have similar problems when we travel to heavy gravity worlds. The villagers had adapted remarkably well to their new neighbors. Old Mr. Park had become best friends with an elderly reptilian farmer who taught him new crop rotation techniques. Mrs. Lee had expanded her store to carry foods and supplies that the alien refugees needed. It is amazing, the resistance leader, Captain Jereem, told Deho during one of his visits. We have never seen humans adapt so quickly to contact with other species. Most worlds take generations to accept outsiders. Why do you think that is? Deho asked. Because you helped Nara when she was a stranger, Jereem said. Your actions showed your people that being different is not something to fear. But not everyone was happy with the changes. Empire had learned about Earth's role. in harboring refugees, and they were planning a response. Commander Yoon had escaped from prison and was gathering a fleet for a final assault. "How many ships?" Nara asked when the warning came. 50 warships, Jerem said grimly. "More than we can handle alone." "Then we do not face them alone," Daeho said. "This is our world. We will defend it." The next few days were spent in preparation. The resistance provided weapons and shields for the human volunteers. Nara taught the villagers how to use alien technology. Even baby Hien seemed to sense the danger, his golden eyes glowing brighter each day. "Are you sure about this?" Nara asked Daeho as they watched the sunset from the barn where they had first met. "The Empire will show no mercy. They will destroy everything." "Then we show them what humans do when someone threatens our family," Daeho said. "We fight the Imperial." Fleet arrived 3 days later, blocking out the sun with their massive ships. Commander Yoon's voice echoed across the valley from loudspeakers. "Humans of Earth," he announced. "You are harboring criminals and traitors. Surrender them now, and your deaths will be quick." The response came from the village's emergency broadcast system. Old Mr. Park's voice crackled over the speakers. "This is our home," he said. "These people are our neighbors, our friends, our family. You want them, you have to come through us." The battle began at dawn. Imperial ships descended like angry wasps, firing at anything that moved. But the humans had learned from their alien friends. They used underground tunnels to move unseen, employed camouflage technology to hide their positions, and fought with a coordination that surprised their enemies. Nara led a group of flying refugees in aerial attacks. Using her dragon abilities to disable the smaller ships, Youngji had set up medical stations in hidden caves, treating both human and alien wounded without distinction. The turning point came when baby Huyan began to cry. His telepathic distress call reached across the galaxy, and this time it was heard by more than just the resistance. Refugee communities on dozens of worlds heard the infant's plea for help. Ships began arriving from every direction, not military vessels, but civilian craft filled with ordinary people who had been helped by the resistance. They came to defend the world that had given them hope. "This is impossible," Commander Yoon said as he watched his fleet being overwhelmed. "They are just refugees and farmers. Their family," Nara said as she confronted him in the final battle. "Something you never understood." The commander's ship was the last to fall. As he was taken prisoner again, he looked at the humans and aliens working together to repair the damage. "Why?" he asked Daeho. "Why risk everything for people who are not your own species?" "'Cause they are our species," Daeho said simply. "The species of people who need help." In the aftermath of the battle, Earth was officially recognized by the Galactic Council as a sanctuary world. The Empire's exile program was exposed and shut down. Commander Yoon was sentenced to life in prison for his crimes. But the real victory was smaller and more personal. In the rebuilt barn, Nara sat with baby Hyun, while Daeho and Yoonji played with the other refugee children. The baby was laughing, a sound that mixed human giggles with the musical tones of his mother's people. "He will grow up knowing many worlds," Nara said. "But this will always be his home." "Our home," Daeho corrected, "all of us." Through the barn window, they could see the village below. Human and alien families worked side by side in the fields. Children of different species played together in the streets. The local school had expanded to teach students from dozens of worlds. "What do you think will happen next?" Yanji asked. "Whatever comes," Nara said, "we will face it together." As the sun set over the valley, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple, baby Haeon reached up toward the stars. His small hand glowed with gentle light, and for a moment, every person in the village, human and alien alike, felt connected by something deeper than species or origin. They felt the bond of family, chosen and cherished, that had started in a simple barn with a farmer's act of kindness. And in that moment, they knew that the galaxy would never be the same. The story ended where it began, in a barn filled with hope, where a young mother held her child while good people promised to protect them both. But now the barn was part of something larger, a symbol of what the universe could become when different peoples chose love over fear. Earth had given the galaxy its answer to hatred and division. It was a simple answer, spoken in the universal language of compassion. You are welcome here. You are safe here. You are home.